Morning everybody, I am out checking some canola and I found another breeding swarm of blister beetles. So there's, it's still pretty cool here, it's only about 10 degrees. And there's quite a few of these guys on the ground all over the place. So they're not up in the plants feeding yet, it's still too cold, it's only about 10 degrees. But they are around, so keep your eyes open for these guys. And one of the few bugs in canola fields you shouldn't handle with bare hands. You can see some feeding damage from them right here. Here's a good little beneficial for you. These weasels, they clean up baby gophers like you wouldn't imagine. They run down there and carry the little guys out. After catching a few thunderstorms last week, dryland peas are starting to look better finally. This is up by Nobleford here. And you can see we're flowering like crazy, and we're starting to see some pods starting to form here. So everything is looking up here compared to 2 weeks ago, and hopefully we keep getting little bits of rain here and there. Here's some irrigated barley starting to lodge already, and we're really not even in the milk stage yet, so might need to slow down the watering on this guy a little. Here's something I'm seeing more of right now. This is dryland wheat, and this is actually looking fairly good for this area. You know, it's just in flowering stage. Sorry, I kind of kinked all the heads over there. So there's the odd flower petal on it here and there, but you can see down in the crop the lower leaves are all yellowed off. It's so stressed, it's starting to drop those off, and some of these plants are actually aborting the tillers. So this one was aborted probably a while ago. It's all yellowed out here, and yeah, obviously very stunted. So that one's pretty much done, and starting to see that on more and more of these plants. They're getting rid of the tillers so that they can, you know, finish off those heads. Checking out some alder-on wheat down by Colehurst today, and what a beautiful crop. Huge big flag leaves coming out on this guy. A little bit of seeding by cereal leaf beetle, but nothing really to be concerned about. Very little for disease in here. What a beautiful wheat. This is going to yield really well, but it is a later maturing variety, so it is going to take its time getting there. Here's some smut starting to show up in barley fields, so keep an eye open for this. It's controlled by seed treatment, but even with Cruiser or Raxel, it's not 100%. You'll still see the odd escape here and there, and you'll see these heads. Here's a quick tutorial on canola flower timing. So you want to find your main stem. We'll just choose this little guy here. We got 7 open flowers, and there's none that have finished. So this is, you know, 5 to 10% bloom, so a little bit early on fungicide timing. But then we've got other ones here that are right at, you know, this is 20, yeah, almost 30% bloom here on this one. So this is good for fungicide timing. We've actually already got 2 pods getting set here, which means those flower petals have already dropped. So we'd actually be a little bit late on this plant, but I don't see them hung up in the leaves here anywhere. And usually, you know, a good visual appearance of a field at 20 to 30% bloom is about what this looks like. It's going to be pretty yellow. If you're at 10%, you'll still see a lot more green, but this, when it's almost solid yellow like this out in the distance, that's usually 20 to 30% bloom. And just another quick note about canola flower bloom timing. If the weather's nice and the sun is shining, you can expect to move along at about 10% bloom about every 2 days. If the weather is cold and rainy, 3 days. Here's the state of the soybeans this week. So these have had their last shot of glyphosate, and they also got a shot of silencer to get the painted ladies under control, because there was some feeding going on there. So hopefully we've put a stop to that now, and these are going to be going into bloom here in the next week or two. We should start to see the first flowers starting to open here. Up by Carmen getting some dryland barley. We're heading out pretty good here. You can see it's a pretty thin, sparse crop here, but the drought stress isn't nearly as bad here as it was close to Nobleford. There isn't nearly as many dead lower leaves and aborted tillers here, but yeah, it'll still be a crop here. Here's some thistle caterpillars chewing away on some mallow. This is a patch in a canola field, so hopefully they stay on the mallow, but there is the odd one on a canola here and there. But we'll be spraying fungicide and insecticide in here soon, so they won't be a problem for long. Out in dryland Durham, down by McGrath, everything here is looking really good. We're just hitting flag leaf stage here, and we're over knee tall, which is much nicer than what we're seeing in some other areas. So this has pretty good potential here. Sweeping some canola for bugs down by McGrath, and numbers seem to have come down from last week. We're at a little bit less than threshold here, about 12 seed pod weevils. So no reason to spray anything here. We'll let the beneficials take care of it. Just checking out some corn by Lethbridge here. It is now officially at my knee height on the 4th of July, so doing pretty good. And just cut open a stem here to show, here's all the nodes, where all the nodes are. So they haven't really started to move yet. And right here is the tassel. It's still very small, but that's where it is. So still has a ways to go. I cut this off just above the crown here, so that's what it looks like. Checking out some irrigated barley by Lethbridge. We got some beautiful big plants here. This is Austinson barley, and everything's really nice and healthy. This just got an in-crop application of Alpine G22 to help increase straw strength. And everything here looks great, except for these spots that are lodging, but that's Cody's fault. We'll blame him. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.